A real pleasure to have Greg Tom today, President of SAP Cloud Offerings. I'll let Greg explain a little bit more. He's got a long title, so I'm not doing him justice. I'll let him explain that. Greg, thank you for joining me. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, fill in the blanks.
Oh, sure, Vinnie. Yeah, it's great to be here, and hopefully you're enjoying the sun there in Tampa, Florida. I'm here in California today. I'm actually traveling today, and I'm in a hotel. So I've started to get out and about a little bit with customers. But yeah, I mean, it's great to be here. And I've served in many different roles at SAP, and I've been at SAP on and off since the early 90s. And I think, Vinnie, you know this, but I started my career at SAP in the consulting side. I came from Anderson Consulting and was what we called an SD consultant and helped customers put in our R3 application. And I did that for a number of years. And then I was just blessed to move into a lot of different roles at SAP on the sales side, on the consulting side. I ran development. And currently, I do have the global sales and go-to-market responsibility for a number of our different offerings. So you mentioned cloud. I've got SuccessFactors and Ariba. I've got our CX portfolio. On the platform side, I've got our cloud platform and analytics. I've also got S4. So it's fairly broad in terms of offerings, and it's a great job. You know, before that, maybe I'll give you a little history before that for those that haven't met me. But the previous 3 years, I was responsible for SuccessFactors, which is our HCM portfolio, and that was an incredibly rewarding responsibility. I mean, for the time I was there, we went from probably 52 million users to 150 million users. We grew it to about 7,000 customers, with probably 75% of them being outside of North America. So that was super exciting. And just being in the talent space, and right in the middle of it, we acquired Qualtrics. So we brought experience management into the SuccessFactors portfolio and made it a standard platform across most of the applications. It was that was a great role. And then before that, I ran our services organization for a number of years around the world. And I built our HANA Enterprise Cloud. And that's €1 billion+ business today with 1,000+ customers. So really help SAP move into these technologies and offerings. And for me, what gets me up every day is just seeing our customers leverage these offerings, be successful, change their businesses, better for their employees, better for their customers, and be successful. So yeah, so it's been great.
Well, it sounds like, my God, you've done everything at SAP.
I'm older than I look, I think. I said that to make me feel better.
Probably know every little nook and cranny of Waldorf there, huh?
Yeah, there you go. I like Waldorf, actually. I'm one of the few, I think.
Greg, I'm glad you were getting around and meeting customers. It's just been an incredible 6 months, hasn't it? But in all the doom and gloom, it's actually been a lot of heroics, right? Mm-hmm. Healthcare heroics, all kinds of people making PPE, 3M saying we're going to quadruple our N95 production, last mile logistics, heroics, e-commerce, just the scaling up or down has just been unbelievable, right? Banks doing 5 million PPP loans, numbers are just crazy. As part of this series, I talked to Peter Meyer in April and Bob Stutz in June. Now, obviously, SAP's made a couple of announcements in the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. Put that in context, but also tell me about some of the heroics you've seen in the customer base.
Sure. Yeah, let me, it was a pretty big day yesterday, right? Because we talked about our Q3 earnings, and I won't go into, super detail on that because that wasn't what this was about. But, more importantly, we reset what the next 5 years look like, right? And I know it was a very hard decision, from our CEO, Christian Klein, and our board, but it was a very good decision for SAP as a company, for our customers, and for our ability to really invest and innovate in our products. And, the net is we looked at the goals and the bottom line we were driving for in the next, I'll call it the midterm. And we just said, look, if we continue to run after that, this is Greg Tom, paraphrasing. If we continue to run after those numbers, we're going to have a lot of other things suffer, right? And we don't want that to happen. We're in a place where We've got incredible products that are the future growth of SAP, in the cloud and with S4. And we've got customers that really want us to double down on innovation, and we want to do that. And so, this gives us a chance to continue to scale and grow and do the right thing for our 400,000 customers around the world. So, it was a tough decision, but it was the right decision. And I think everybody in the external financial markets are going to see that as we, as we really take SAP to that next level. And by the way, I've been through this a couple of times, right? And it's great to be part of a company that will lean forward, will make the right decisions that impact our customers. So that's exciting. Okay, so the last 6 months, Vinnie, have been different, right? I remember sitting in my office in it was probably February. I just gotten back from my last trip in Singapore, and all this started to hit, and flights started to get shut down between certain countries, and all of a sudden we're like, what's going to happen with with our customers and buying? So we saw an incredible amount of change, and in a very short time frame, we had our customers and companies we deal with all over the world, being concerned about their top and bottom lines. No different than we were, right? So everybody said, geez, we don't know if we're going to be able to make the revenue. We don't know what's going to happen to our bottom line. Let's stop spending, or let's be very cautious about what we spend. I saw IT budgets in some places being cut by 50% immediately, as people just said, we got to be really concerned about every dollar. As we rolled into April and May, things changed a little bit. So you did have certain industries that all of a sudden, like you mentioned, became very hot. They were providing products and services and hiring people to meet, the new normal of our societies, and we had to support those. The other thing that we had to do is we had to figure out how do we sell in these new markets that were really getting hot and not sell in the ones that are getting cold. And what do I mean by that? So, larger ERP transformations that we're used to at SAP, if they weren't already funded, we saw them starting to shift right. Or in many cases, instead of being very large, they got shrunk down and they got focused on the areas like, hey, supply chain, we need supply chain and flexibility, or we need the financial controls, and we're going to start there. So we saw a lot of these transformations get changed or morphed into smaller, higher value, faster type programs. And then the other thing we saw areas like, and you mentioned this, digital e-commerce being really hot, right? So e-commerce, virtual learning, supply chain, sourcing, all areas that all of a sudden stepped up and became really, really hot. And when I look at such a broad portfolio, that we've got the ability to bring those right solutions at the right time to these customers. Okay. I think the other thing I'll mention here before we go on is, one of the hardest things that we had to figure out, and I'm sure many of the other technology companies did as well, is how do you sell and support your customers in a virtual world? Because we're so used to being there on site with them, our presence, holding their hands. And we're pretty good at it because we live virtually at SAP, but our customers weren't. So we had to get into a routine of not only working with them and supporting them virtually, but teaching them how to be customer of ours in a virtual manner. And that wasn't easy, but fast forward now, 6 months, 2 quarters, it's been really impressive. We've got a really good rhythm with most of our customers. They've stepped into it, into that fashion, and we know how to do business together, and we know how to support them in the appropriate way.
Greg, on the other hand, I have seen, you mentioned hot versus cold. A lot of vertical edge applications, right? Telemedicine, you mentioned distance learning. So it's not like the market's completely died, right? And you had an initiative you called Amplify, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about Amplify and tell us how that's been doing in the last few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, Amplify was an initiative or program that I would term it as a catalyst to get our 10,000 sales professionals moving again with our customers. And it really came out of that April timeframe when we sat down with our customers and we first said, hey, how can we help you out in this really turbulent, confusing time? And it started out as we know we had solutions, for example, in the Ariba sourcing area that we could provide to our customers at no cost just to help them, continue their business in this tough time. It started out as this, we really want to help our customers where they need help. And it wasn't about the money, it was about how do we help them. And then through that April timeframe, we had, a lot of customers come back and say, look, SAP, here are the areas that we really need help and we'll make investments and we want to buy. Please focus on these areas. And so we came up with the Amplify program. And what we did is we looked across almost every major line of business we sell to. So whether it's the supply chain organization, procurement, sales, marketing, finance, you name it. But within these groups, within our customers, together we define these are really critical applications that can help them get value in the short term. And then what we did with those is we looked at how we priced them. We brought all the cost components together so they wouldn't have to figure out once they bought it how they would implement it. We priced them at very low price points so they could start fast and get decisions made fast. And we rolled those out to the market. And it's been really successful. Yeah, go on, Vinnie.
How has your ecosystem adjusted to that? Because
so that's
they're big
great question.
Too.
Yeah, they are. But what hit them also in the April timeframe was, the number of large projects out there all of a sudden is cut in half. So they also had to get into a place where they wanted to create new opportunities with their customers and be on that front foot leaning in to do that. And so we took that Amplify program, and there's 30 offerings out there now, and we opened it up to all of our partners around the world. And we said, okay, who wants to play with us in this new game? And once you know it, today we've got over 300 partners that support the Amplify offerings. They help us bring these offerings into our customers. They help us market the offerings. They help us implement and support the offerings. And it's taken on this extremely incredible collaborative life of its own between us and our partners. And when I look at just 6 months, we've got, I think the last numbers I saw were, 5,200 new opportunities that we've created just around the Amplify offerings that didn't exist back in April.
Wow.
Right? So brand new ones, probably, rolling on almost $500 million of new pipeline for the company. But even more importantly, these are new projects and programs that we've helped our customers kick up that they can move into in a small way. They can move into it fast, and it will grow for us and for them now over the next 5 years. So it's really exciting to see that.
Greg, I may have you present on Amplify a little bit more. Let's ask a couple more questions on the heroics and acrobatics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, having led Success Factors, you've got a very deep understanding of HCM issues. What about leadership? Let's talk about leadership. What have you seen in the last few months? Well, let's start with you. What have you drawn on? Has it been family? Has it been faith? Has it been mentors? What has made you a better leader in this time frame? And then talk about some of the other examples you've seen of, you go, wow, I was really impressed with what somebody did.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll answer this two ways, right? So from a leadership perspective and what I've drawn on. So my family has played a really big role. Now I didn't have a choice, right? Because I've got a 13-year-old and now a 15-year-old son, and having them, doing schoolwork, online at home, and saying, "Hey, Dad, help me out with algebra, 9th grade algebra." I mean, that has definitely spun me sideways. So I've learned things, and I've learned things the last 6 months that that I never thought I could learn. And I'm sure all the parents out there have been through the same thing. But I can tell you from my standpoint at SAP, leadership really was about how SAP as a company, as a team, responded so fast. Within weeks, it was It was about how do we come together, help our customers, and be willing to change. And we're a big company, we're 100,000 employees. How do we change overnight to do what's right for our employees and for our customers? And we did that. Me around leadership, I've also got a different view about really what a leader is. I mean, a lot of people look at leadership, as a manager type definition. You've got to manage a lot of people to be a leader, or you've got to make these decisions as a leader. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as every individual that we have is a leader in themselves. And it's about how do they, whatever they're responsible for, how do they do better at the task they're doing? How do they look to take what they're doing better and share that with other people? And how do they make everybody around them better at what they do? So I consider every single person a leader that is part of SAP, or if I speak to people beyond SAP, what you do every day, you just have to lead in your own way and share, what you do well, or things you've learned because maybe they didn't go well, with other people so they do better in what they do. And then the other thing that I would add, Vinnie, is I'm a person, and maybe you can tell this in this interview, I'm a person that really believes in positive attitude. I think leadership and attitude go hand in hand. And I think you can move mountains, you can drive change with positive attitude. I think with a negative attitude, you not only can't do that, but you damage a lot of things around you, right? So I think and this, once again, this is a Greg Thomism. I just think that, everybody really needs to try to drive their professional lives and even their personal lives with positivity, no matter what the situation is. And I think that will move everybody around them, and great things will happen if we do that.
Greg, I've interviewed about 75 executives in this series, and I walk away so energized, right? And then you go to media and social media, and people are just so critical, so negative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad our business executives are staying positive and focused. And so, what else? What else have you learned in the last 6 months that you want to share?
I don't think we're out of this for a while, right? So I think we can all agree there's no such thing as a V curve here, right? I think this is going to take a while. I do think, though, that we will continue to see the business environment improve as we go into next year, because I think that a lot of the businesses, whether they're in technology or the businesses that we serve, have a really good handle now on how to be successful in this new world, and what is really the definition of success, and how do they make sure that they can manage the business that they have coming in and going out for the future, which brings stability, right? And with stability, a lot of companies are resetting their budgets for next year, but it'll allow now them to understand that they can invest in certain places. They understand that if they do invest, they'll get more value, and it's going to put us all in a much better place as we go into next year. I don't know if travel's coming back real soon, at least international travel, but I think we're going to see a healthier business world as we go into 2021.
Yeah, I think it's going to be announced tomorrow, but I think GDP grew 30%, some ridiculous number in the last 3-4 months. So in all the boom, folks like you have been really doing an admirable job. So we need to get more positive messages out. There's a little too much negativity out there. So thank you.
I agree.
Thank you for what
I agree, Vinnie.